The special broadcast just went live, and we've been able to obtain some official information about Chisa, who will be in the first phase of version 2.8. So in today's video, I'll be going over everything covered in the special broadcast footage about Chisa, in addition to the hints that Kuro Games has provided so far to determine her best teams, damage potential, weapon options, and finally my pull recommendations to help you get an idea of what you should expect before she officially drops in the game. But before we dive back into the video, I want to give huge thanks to Raid for supporting the channel. Now, I don't cover the game here on the channel, but you can support me by downloading it with the link in the description. It really helps me to continue making these type of videos for you guys. They're giving all new players $200 worth of free rewards if you use the link in the description. So it's a win-win for everyone. Just click the link, follow the steps to set up your new account, and start playing. And do keep in mind that checking out the game or recommending it to friends and family who are more into strategy-based games directly helps me to keep making videos for you guys. From the special broadcast footage, you can see that she can perform up to 5 stages of basic attacks in her normal mode where nothing is really happening or not using her Forte Circuit. In the normal mode, this is stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Since most units in the game regenerates Forte stacks by using basic attacks, we can confidently assume that these 5 basic attacks will be one of the most reliable ways to regenerate Forte stacks. Now right here, you can see that stage 5 was clearly completed, but she performed this animation where she boosted herself in midair towards the enemy or to chase the enemy, which will most likely be from a jump and a dash input, plunged, and then started her basic attacks from stage 2. From there, she could have completed the ground basic attack sequence to stage 5 as we saw earlier, but right after stage 3, she went straight into midair, which is most likely from just holding your basic attack button or performing a heavy attack in her normal mode. From there, she performed one midair basic attack, but instead of following it up with a plunge attack, as you can see right here where the animation started, she used her skill in midair, which unlocked another type of midair attack similar to the third ground basic attack, and you can see that it actually reset her midair attacks. So she did basic attack stage 1 in midair, and the follow-up attack allowed her to plunge, but this time the follow-up basic attack was stage 4, which proceeded with stage 5. I know the combos can be a little bit confusing, but everything will be clear in a dedicated guide video. But the point I'm trying to make is that this clearly shows that Chisa will be a very fun character to play with different combos that you can use to fill her Forte stacks much faster, especially when you're playing her in the overworld. Now let's get into her special mode or Forte Circuit. When her Forte stacks were full, she transforms her scissors into a freaking chainsaw to do damage, and during the transition, you can see that it pulled the enemy closer to Chisa, indicating that she has crowd control capabilities. The prolonged chainsaw transition animation also indicates that whatever button that you use to initiate the transition, like your resonance skill button, which was confirmed by the devs, can be held to group more enemies. The continuous damage output in chainsaw mode instead of short animation duration might also indicate that you simply need to hold basic attack in chainsaw mode to use chainsaw stage 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is the last slam attack, to do damage. Supportive and damage capabilities. After the last slam attack in the chainsaw mode, you can see that she regenerates a shield for herself and will most likely apply to her teammates as well. Using her liberation will do damage and heal all teammates. So you can see that Chisa's kit is designed in a very similar way to Brand and Cantarella, and both of these units can do some pretty decent damage while providing supportive and buffing capabilities to their teammates in the mono attribute team compositions, which means that Chisa's personal damage will be nowhere near units with the main damage dealer role like Frolova, Zani, Augusta, and Cortethia. But her damage output will surely be good enough to clear all types of endgame content as a hypercarry, as we've seen with units like Brand and Cantarella. Buffing capabilities, and team building. The devs did not showcase any team compositions with Chisa as they usually do during live streams, but we can determine what kind of buffing capabilities Chisa will provide by working our way back from the hints that we've received so far. It's basically confirmed that Chisa will scale off liberation damage since the Threnodian Leviathan Focus Echo cannot be used by any other resonator at the moment as their main echo in the first slot. And this part of the livestream also proves that it's made for Chisa, since the Threnodian Leviathan is part of the new echo set that is dropping in version 2.8. This means that she'll be capable of inflicting Havoc Bane since enemies take more damage from the Echo if they've been inflicted with Havoc Bane. However, the current Tower of Adversity reset says nothing about buffing liberation damage, which is actually pretty common if the upcoming character is not a dedicated main damage dealer, just like Chisa, as we've previously established. But you can see that the second part of the buffs wants you to apply negative status effect, or else your damage will be reduced by 10%. The third part provides a universal defense shred, and we can actually see a similar thing happening for the new token provided in Windprint Waste, where enemy defense is shred by 20% when inflicted with negative status effects. So the hint right here is defense, and this clearly shows that Chisa's buffing capabilities from her outro skill or an inherent passive will most likely be enemy defense shred for units that can inflict negative status effects like Zoni, Chakona, and Cortethia. But this defense shred needs to be huge, around 50%, because Chisa will be competing against Showkeeper's 15% damage amplification and 25% crit damage in a Zoni Phoebe team, and 26% error damage amplification from Arrow Rover's sword in a Cortethia Chakona team composition. So if this turns out to be true, that means that Chisa has some strong competition. The devs also announced that they will be making changes to negative status effects in the game, so hopefully enemies inflicted with Havoc Bane would grant defense shred to teammates in addition to what Chisa can provide, so that she can have a little bit of synergy with the units that do not apply negative status effects in case you want to play double DPS team compositions like Chisa Changli for example, since Changli amplifies liberation damage by 25%. And this will also contribute to more defense shred buffs to units that can apply negative status effects like Zoni and Cortethia. For those that want to go for a hypercarry playstyle, you can use Showkeeper or Verena, Jingzhen, and Chisa, or Showkeeper or Verena, Yinlin, and Chisa, since Yinlin provides 25% liberation damage amplification. For her weapons, the good news is that she works with Lustrous Razor, and you can get 2 stacks which grants 14% liberation damage bonus at R1 by using her normal skill and the skill that transitions her from Scissors mode into Chainsaw mode. But if Chisa has crit damage on her skill tree, you'll be critting your attacks once a year. The same thing applies to Lupus Signature, which provides 24% liberation damage bonus, but the crit damage will make it difficult to get a decent crit ratio. Damage increase and damage losses will be calculated for different weapons in Chisa's dedicated guide video, so be sure to look forward to it. Now, based on everything I've analyzed so far, here are my pull recommendations. There's a good chance that Chisa is made to have a complete synergy with upcoming characters like Geshu Lin for example, so her buffing capabilities may be slightly higher or underwhelming in the current teams that I mentioned earlier. However, do keep in mind that skipping her also means that you're losing access to the only buffer in the game that can apply Havoc Bane, just like Chakona is the only buffer that can apply Error Erosion for Cortethia. Fortunately for Cortethia teams, we had Sanwa to fill the Chakona slot due to how Cortethia's kit was designed. But it's not guaranteed that a similar thing is going to happen again in the near future for upcoming units that synergize with Chisa. So, my best recommendation is to pull for her if her damage output is really good and on par with Brandt and Cantarella, so that you can at least play her as a hypercarry where her damage output can make up for low buffing capabilities for existing units if that's the case. But if you're low on pulls, you can always get her on a rerun. However, as I said earlier, there's no guarantee that the unit that she fully synergizes with will have easily accessible options in terms of team building. That'll be all for my Chisa pre-release pull value breakdown. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and use my link in the description to check out Raid if you would like to support the channel. Our Discord link will also be in the pinned comment if you're having any issues with the game, help with your build, or you just want a place to chill or hang out. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.